We are at the Center of Human Trafficking Research and Outreach at the University of Georgia. And the director of this institute, or this center, is actually Professor David Okech, a Kenyan, who has been here for over 15 years doing a lot of research in efforts to actually end slavery. So we are here to meet him so that he can take us a tour of this center and find out what are they really doing. We've seen episodes on TV about, slavery in Arab countries, but let's talk to Professor and see how it is.
Welcome to Central. Hey, Fidelis.
I like the way
how are you? Welcome to Central.
Thank you, thank you. Central means center on?
Center, it's the center on, not center for. Center on Human Trafficking Research and Outreach, because we are not for human trafficking. So we are centered on human trafficking research and outreach. That is what we are centered on.
Okay, I get it.
We do research on human trafficking, on human trafficking, and then we do outreach after doing the research.
Because
outreach is the programming
the
and
aim
working
of
with
it is
everybody.
to bring about change, right?
The aim is to bring change, and the aim is to improve the outcomes of survivors and people who are victims. And also the aim is to actually prevent human trafficking in the first place. But I'm so glad to see you, and please come in.
Let us come in.
Come on right in. Come on right in.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is a great center, but more importantly, the work you do, as you put it, even the picture summarizes. I mean, I've seen this before. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. So give us just a brief overview again of what the center is about. What you do, and again, how many staff members, how long have you existed, and show us some of the areas you work in the world.
Yeah. So the Center on Human Trafficking Research and Outreach, or CENTRO, is an interdisciplinary and international center whose goal is to use data, use evidence, use science to prevent human trafficking, to protect victims and survivors, and also to build the capacity of organizations that could be legal organizations, they could be organizations that are based on providing services to survivors, and also they could just be researchers like us to build their capacity to do their work that could also prevent the problem or provide better services to victims and survivors, or also prevent the problem.
Wow. Very novel indeed. I see some of the flags I recognize. I saw the Ghanaian flag over there. So are these some of the countries you work?
Yeah, these are some of the countries that work in here. So as I said, I began to do my work. This is not from Ghana. This is actually Senegal, because Ghana is a black star.
That's Senegal. So I saw a star, but it's not black.
So Ghana is a black star, yeah. So this is Senegal. We have Mali and Zambia here as well. We have Mali and Zambia here as well. And basically, as I said, maybe before, I began to do my work in Ghana. Okay. And in Ghana, I worked with women who are being trafficked and into the streets. There were street porters, and I began to work with this organization that was trying to help me. It was a residential care facility that was trying to help these women. So basically, the goal was to try to make sure that we could understand the services that they were receiving, so that we could improve the services. Because many times when we provide services to people, we don't have time to really sit down and consider those services. And the only way to know that the services are working is by talking with those who receive those services.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this was basically a program evaluation kind of work that I began to do. Okay. And we did publish out of that, and they spoke about what they would want. These survivors of trafficking spoke about what they would have wanted. Yeah. And so I worked with this organization. I presented the report to them, and we tried to work to improve the services for these people. But then from there, my interest really got deep into data. I was reading many articles, and I couldn't find a lot of articles that were actually trying to use a robust data to try to improve the services. So that actually was one reason why I began to dream that one day it might be better to bring people from other disciplines together, where we could think about ways that could actually better improve the outcomes in a measurable way. In a measurable way. Yeah. We want to show impact. I think many people are doing things. Sometimes it's hard to measure the impact. But if you want to measure impact, then you need data. So we really want it to be data-driven. So we have strong people here who are strong in methodology, who are strong in statistics, who are strong in service provision, who are strong in all the elements that
basically
you need to have
try
a robust
to cut
program.
across, various disciplines.
So basically, you have to cut across, because human trafficking is a complex issue. Yeah? Human trafficking cuts across many sectors. It is not just an economic issue. It's a psychological issue. It's a public health issue. It's a social issue, right? So you need people who are well versed in all those areas or disciplines in order to be able to come up with a robust research and robust programs and also robust policies. So this is something that cuts across through all disciplines.
Oh, wow. Incredible work indeed. So I see a map here of...
So this is Senegal. This is Senegal. It's a beautiful country. I've been to Senegal many times. As a matter of fact, I'm going back to Senegal next month.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'll be back to Senegal in July. So in Senegal, we had some excellent work, and we were focused on sex trafficking among girls. There we have gold mining areas where we border Mali here, Kedougou area, and Saraya. And Soraya. So there are gold mines whereby these mines are kind of semi-regulated by the state. So they are what we call artisanal gold mines spread all over the place. We understand most of the mines, most of the gold goes to the Middle East. But the people who mine the gold, they are mostly men, young men. But also girls are attracted there because these men are away from their families. Men are away from their families. And so in Senegal, prostitution is legal.
It's legal?
It's legal in Senegal.
What does that mean?
It means that as long as you're 21 and older, and as
you
long
can be a sex worker.
You can register as a sex worker, and also you can you have to do regular health checks. You need to have your health record in up to date, because basically they want to make sure that you don't have STDs and you're not spreading it, right?
Oh my goodness.
But it is legal in Senegal, so we say that commercial sex work is legal in Senegal, and so that actually attracts girls from the other parts of West Africa, ECOWAS. A majority of the girls come from Nigeria. A majority of the girls come from Nigeria. So we found, outsiders found that.
This is data you are finding on the ground in Africa.
Yeah, this is.
So you leave the US with your team and go to Africa on the ground to get this data.
And it's an interesting place, actually. Of course, yes. And Dakar to Senegal. So this is Dakar.
It's far. Oh, is it?
Yeah, we go by road, and it's about 11 hours straight.
11 hours.
11 hours straight by road. So it's an interesting.
So you go from this is Dakar. I see Kaolack.
Yeah, we go through Kaolack. Yeah, Tambacounda. Yes,
Dialakoto,
all the way to Kedougou.
To Saraya.
Yeah, to Kedougou, and then of course Saraya. And actually,
so which language do they speak? I'm sure you've gone there until you are able to say a few words.
So they have many tribes, but the official language is French. Yeah, the way we speak English in Kenya, so it's a francophone country.
So do you go with a French-speaking researcher?
So we have staff. We have staff in Senegal. We have
you have an office in Senegal.
We have staff in Senegal, and also we work with organizations that are based there. But I also have staff in Senegal. Central has 2 staff in Senegal. Very competent people. One is a lawyer by training in the UK by law. And the other one also has a master's degree. And so we do have staff. And then they work with organizations. Like we have some 2 shelters there that we work with. And also we work with the UNODC in terms of making sure that if we have prosecutions, those prosecutions will be successful in terms of training.
So you go ahead and prosecute some people who...
Oh, yes. And actually in Senegal, it's one of the places whereby we've had a lot of success in the prosecution of perpetrators.
Wow.
I have to say that.
That's incredible. That's good.
We've had lots of success in the prosecution of perpetrators. So I have to say, though, that the other thing that we've managed, just real quick, is that because most of these girls, our studies show that they didn't know they were going to Kedougou, some of them. They thought, some say they thought they were going to Europe when they were being trafficked to Senegal, or they were going to Dubai. And that is not to say that Dubai life would have been better. No. But most of them want to go back home, want to go back to Senegal. So after we work with them in these shelters, we allow them to choose if they want to go back to Nigeria. And then when they choose to go back to Nigeria, we're able to remove them and take them back to Nigeria. And then in Nigeria, we have an organization also that receives them and tries to help them to go back to their communities. But again, it is voluntary repatriation. The other thing that we found, though, is that even though these girls are supposed to be adults. They're supposed to be like older. Some of them are very young, 14, 15, 16 years old. But
so that's illegal. Yeah.
They lie. They use like fake IDs, and so it is a very, very sad situation. And we hope that this work can continue.
It should continue for sure. Help me understand, because I'm very curious, like, how do you get, obviously, like you said, there are many tools, ways to do this. How do you get to even identify the victims?
How do we get to identify the victims?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're doing community-based work, you need to, I think maybe I'll go back. How do you enter a country?
Okay.
Because I'd never been to Senegal until I began.
Yes, because I really have quite. I wish we had more time, but I have many questions because because in this show, we try to establish networks for research. You just have established a very effective system of doing research with researchers in Africa. So there are many professors who will be watching, who will be very curious, and they might reach out to you to find out, how do you even enter a country? How do you even establish staff on the ground and make them be committed to the work?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit.
I'll be very so my background is in social work. I was trained in social work.
Oh, okay. So you have a lot of tools to yourself.
Yeah, so I did social work, that was my training, and all my 3 degrees are in social work. So one advantage of social work is that it can be it really exposes you to the different ways to engage a community. Right? From the blues, from whatever. You can engage any community, you can enter any community and you can engage them. Of course, it requires a little bit of humility.
Definitely.
Because you know nothing.
I should say a lot of humility.
A lot of it.
You don't know the language.
You don't know the language. You don't know
the problem you are dealing with. There are cartels there.
Exactly.
Security system, corruption. Oh my goodness.
There's everything. And when you first go in there, you don't know anybody. Okay, you've met a few people via email and Zoom.
And of course, you have your background, because you have already, I'm sure you enter there knowing at least there could be trafficking. So, now, yes.
So we've done our homework, we've done some review of the literature, some desk review, and we've spoken to some people there, and they've told us, yes, indeed, there's a problem. And of course, we ask what has been done about the problem. Of course, you don't want to go to a place whereby some other people are already doing something, because you don't want to waste resources.
Exactly.
You want to go to a place where there's a need, but also where nobody's doing something about the need. Right? Where nobody's doing something about the need. And so what we do in a place like that is that we try to reach out to government officials. Very important to reach out with government. And, I tell people, we may not agree with any government, but still it's very hard to work in a place without the government support, right? Reach out to government, reach out to non-governmental organizations, and we also reach out to the universities, the researchers.
Okay.
We try to...
So in Senegal, which university are you working with?
Yeah. So in Senegal, actually, we did not work with the university because we found that it was not possible to do that. So our research partner was actually US-based, Population Council. But Population Council has an office there. Okay. Yeah, but in other places, we have universities. So you try to work with research partners who have presence, either university or a research partner who has presence in the country. And you study together the issue at hand, whether it is sex trafficking or whether it is child trafficking. You study that issue together, and then you co-develop like a plan to try to intervene with NGOs, with community leaders. And in this human trafficking field, it is very important to also work with people with lived experience.
People who have lived the experience, and we'll also talk about how you get the funding, because it must be costing a lot. So in this show and in this part, maybe we'll end it there. But there are lots of questions for sure that people may ask, and they can reach out to you via the Center of
the Center on Human Trafficking Research and Outreach, Centro, CENTRHO.edu, CENTRHO.edu. .uga, sorry, .uga.edu. CENTRHO.uga.edu.
We'll be right back. Subscribe to this channel, because we bring you stories and real-life data from even victims, courtesy of Centro and Professor David Okech. Again, part 3 continues. Subscribe to this channel.
Very good, yeah. Let me wipe its eye.